Hi, I'm Matthew with Maxfield, and we're here today to have our fourth class on establishing our roots, which is building a raised bed. But before we move on, let's talk about why we want raised beds in our garden. They come with a variety of benefits, which include isolating the root zone for extended growing seasons. It allows us to utilize less of the native soil and incorporate more soil amendments like Maxfield's soil conditioner. And it also eases access to our crops, for literally we don't have to bend down all the way to the ground. Now before we get started, let's get our idea of where we want to put this raised bed. As you might already have set up in your plan for your garden from our first lesson, we need to have a place that accesses the sun, but also our kitchen, and make sure it doesn't get in the way of the other activities we want to do in our backyard. Once we've found the place, we need to understand the width, the length, and the depth of the raised bed we want to build and grow in. Today we will be making a relatively small raised bed, which is 2 feet by 4 feet with 8-inch boards. Well, let's get our tools together. Today we are going to need a shovel and a rake. We're also going to need the boards. We'll be using a 1-inch by 8-inch that's 8 feet long, cut in half for 2 4-inch pieces, and another boards that are 1 inch by 8 inches and 2 feet long. We will also need 4 ends that are cut from a 4x4, all 12 inches long. We will also need a drill and some screws. We recommend at least 2 inches long. And don't forget to get some Maxfield soil conditioner and planting mix along with some native soil. If you don't have any native soil on your property or in your backyard, feel free to buy some imported topsoil. Once we have all our tools together, let's head out and start building this raised bed. First thing we want to do is to remove all debris from the area that we plan to establish our raised bed. Here I'm using my rake to get any bit of contaminants or organic matter that might get in the way. If you plan to be building your raised bed directly onto your lawn, there's no need to do this step, as you can build your raised bed directly onto the grass itself. Some people like to shelter the bottom of their raised bed using things like cardboard or chicken wire, but me, I'd rather just let the roots go straight into the native soil found underneath. Now that we've found where we're going to be putting our raised bed and we have cleared it of all excess debris and leveled it out evenly, we're going to set up our tools and our materials. Laying the boards and the 4x4 ends in the correct positions, it's time to start fixing together our raised bed. Take one of the 4x4s and position it against one of the boards. At this point, you can fasten the board to the 4x4 end using the drill and screws. Now it's time to move to the adjacent side of the 4x4 end and fasten the other board to it. Please note at this point that you will have overlap between the boards, and make sure to mimic this on every corner as to make sure your bed looks even as a rectangle or square. Once I've finished the first corner, I like to move to the opposite side and proceed to do the same steps of fastening the 2 boards to the one end. Now it looks like I have 2 L pieces that I can position together where I plan to establish my raised bed. Take the last 2 4x4 ends, position them against the boards, and fasten them in using the drill and screws. At this point, we should have a solid box built to be our raised bed, which we can move gently to the position that we want it, making sure that it looks level, straight, and even. At this point, it's time to add a little bit of Maxfield soil conditioner. We'll want to blend it and incorporate it in with the native soil or imported topsoil at about a 50-50 blend. After measuring our bed and our depth, we found that we are going to be using 3 bags of Maxfield soil conditioner along with about 3 cubic feet of topsoil. Once they have been blended and raked out even, it's time to move on to the Maxfield's planting mix. Using the rate chart on the back, I see that I'll be needing about 2 bags of Maxfield's planting mix spread evenly at about 2 inches thick. Using my rake, I'm able to level out my growing area and it's about time to start growing your own food. Now let's go down to the checklist at the bottom of the YouTube channel. Feel free to print it off and start your own raised bed in your backyard. We also ask that you place any comments or questions here at our YouTube channel or on Facebook and Twitter. You can always follow us on Pinterest and join our newsletter at www.maxfieldsorganics.com. Stay tuned for future videos that include transplanting into raised beds, sowing seeds directly into native soil, and our next video, which will be creating a container garden. Until then, I'm Matthew with Maxfield. See you later.